Building or remodeling a home is complicated, but when you throw in the legal aspect, it just gets a little more complicated. There are permits to obtain and other legal information to be aware of. In today's edition of Home Appeal, attorney Mark Beglane of Bacon Wilson, Attorneys at Law, is here to make sure you know the legal aspect of building or remodeling in your home. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Nate.
To add something to my existing home, do I need to get a permit?
It depends. Usually if you're dealing with a structural addition that's going to have some structural capacity, you will need a permit from the local authorities, either the city or town that you're building in.
What about, if I want to put up new sheetrock, does that count? Do I need a permit for that?
No, you wouldn't necessarily need it for just sheetrocking, but when you start doing structural elements, putting up studs and supporting type structures, you would need.
Or adding an extra room off a building or something like that.
Yes.
Is it something, the permits, are these some things I should try to obtain, or should I let a contractor that I've hired to do this job get those for me?
Under the law, the best way to do it is to have it done by the contractor. Under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 142A, the Home Improvement Contractor Law, you have access to the guarantee fund that the state has if there's a problem with a contract, only if the permit has been obtained by the builder or your contractor. If you get the permit yourself, you will not be able to access that fund. So that, for instance, if the builder goes out of business or loses, you won't have access to the fund. The fund allows you to get up to $10,000 recovery from that fund, and it's funded by the fees that the builders have to pay to register as licensed home improvement contractors.
Now, I'm pretty handy with a set of tools. I feel like I could build an addition on my own house. Is good idea or bad idea?
I think it's a bad idea in terms of if you don't get the proper permits. There's a lot of people go out there and do that. At some point you're going to look to sell your home or refinance the home, and someone's going to want some evidence that the way you built that house was done correctly. And if it wasn't, you run the risk that if it hasn't been there for more than 10 years, the building inspector or the town could force you to remove that addition. It may also discourage a buyer who may not want to take that risk when they buy a home.
Sure. Now, so I've decided, okay, I want this addition, and I've hired a contractor. What do I need from that contractor?
Well, I think the first thing you want to get from the contractor is references. Find out who he's done work for. Look at jobs that he's done, check with the Better Business Bureau, get his license number. You can check with the Board of Building Regulations in Boston for all the people they have to be licensed, and then work out your deal. Specifically, what do you want? If you're having an addition done, be specific. Work out your business deal, and then once you have your business deal worked, I think you should have a contract, or you're required to have a contract if it's for $1,000 or more under Massachusetts general laws, and that's when I think you should see a lawyer. Usually, if it's a good contractor, he will have his own form contract that you should take to a lawyer who specializes in these types of things to make sure the contract is in compliance with the law and also protects you and deals with all aspects of things that can happen with a contract.
So you should have a written contract.
Absolutely.
And in that, you want it to be as specific as possible. Is it good enough to, is it good enough to say, oh, you're going to put on a new roof and new windows?
Well, you take one heck of a risk. You could have that, but I think you want to be very specific. You don't want to be paying for sort of the Cadillac and getting the Chevy, because if that's what you say, that's what you get, and that would be compliant. So you want to be as specific as possible with the specifications spelled out, attached to the contract, or plans, specific plans that give all the detail, and then the contract should specify who does what work, when they start, when it's going to be completed, when it's deemed completed, who has to carry what insurances. You don't want to be responsible if somebody gets hurt on the job, and if there is, you want to make sure there's compliance. If your home was built prior to 1978 with the lead paint, the lead safe regulations, and that you make sure that you're not exposing your family to any harms.
What if my definition of finished is different than the contractor's version?
Well, I think that's important as part of the contract, is to try to define specifically what do you mean by completion, because completion is typically the last end of the contract where you're looking to get paid. And you don't want to pay if you don't think it's been completed,
No.
and the contractor, if he thinks it's been completed, and that's where you get into arguments. A lot of contracts will have provisions for arbitration. Rather than go to court, you can have an arbitrator decide. You can put that into your contract. The contracts have to specifically have a right of rescission. You have 3 business days from entering into the contract to take it to your lawyer to think about whether, you know, I made a good deal or bad deal. You can back out of the contract, and you're entitled to get a copy of that contract. But it should be specific. It should have payments. They can't get more than 1/3 up front under the state law.
Okay, so only up to 1/3.
Up to 1/3, unless it's for specific design items that have to be specially ordered. Then they can charge in addition to the 1/3 for those specially designed items that have to be ordered in advance.
So it's sort of essentially 1/3 of the labor cost.
Correct. Yeah, usually in terms of what's there. And that's what you're looking to try to get. And what you don't want to do is pay 100% up front and then have the contractor take off the parts unknown.
Right, and all of a sudden it's not here, and now they have all of your money instead of just 1/3 of it.
And they have to have disclosures. They have to put in the contract specifically the responsibilities for what permits. And it's important, you know, in terms of sometimes you need more than building permits. Sometimes you've got wetlands or something in your backyard. You got to get the permits from the local conservation commission.
The possibilities are endless. Mark, if people need help from a lawyer, where can they find a Bacon Wilson office?
We're in Springfield is our main office, Northampton, Amherst, and Westfield. So we serve the whole Pioneer Valley, and we concentrate in this construction field and helping homeowners and contractors enter into contracts that protect both parties, and that's the whole purpose of
Mark,
it.
It's a very complicated issue. We only barely graze the surface of it, but thanks for being here to at least help us understand a little bit.
Yes,
so thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.
And for more information or to contact Bacon Wilson for your legal needs, you can visit them on the web at baconwilson.com.